But here we go, jumping right into the draft. Game 1 in our best of 3 for Season 5, Week 1, Thursday night. Chair League, the Mighty Goats versus Snitches Get Stitches. And jumping over to a red ban right away. And wow, not wasting any time, Snitches Get Stitches banning out the Greymane there. Greymane can do a lot of damage to the ye old Immortal in the middle. So it doesn't really surprise me that that's the first ban we're going to see. Snitches Get Stitches saying, hey, we don't mind racing, but if we race, we're going to do this on our terms. So they're going to go ahead and ban that out right away. Which is cool. That absolutely makes sense. Mighty Goats taking their time on this next ban. Really putting some thought into what do we want to take away. Hovering the Genji right now, which I actually don't have a problem with. I feel like maybe what would be better than the Genji is a Malthael ban, but we're going to see Malthael get out. And Genji is the ban, so Malthael has made it through the draft so far, as has Stukov. But we're going to see a first pick Vala over on Snitches Get Stitches. I kind of like that. Vala does a lot of damage and has a lot of value on this map. She can really put some pressure onto the Immortal. And on top of that, you know, she can then do some good damage on the rest of the team, too. Vala's a really good teamfight hero. And the only thing that worries me when you're in that kind of situation is, what are you going to do when you don't get the Holy Trinity here? And maybe they think they're gonna get the Holy Trinity, so they're not worried about it. But Tassadar and Ario will be sure nice to get picked up on the side of Snitches Get Stitches if that's the direction they want to go. But over on the Mighty Goat side, taking their time on these next two picks, using up as much of their pool as they can. Oh, I like that. Lunara Ariel. Denying Ariel to Snitches Get Stitches and pairing Ariel with Lunara, which is actually a good source of energy or hope there. And pairs up almost as well as Ariel Vala does. And does a good amount of damage to the Immortal post level 7. So I'm digging this so far. Both teams kind of drafting and counter drafting each other as we go. I'd like to see Snitches Get Stitches pick up at least their warrior here, if not their warrior in support. Alright, so we're going to get an Uther Diva. We do get the support out of the way, but a Diva choice, while she is strong on this map, you still need something to control the team fight. So they're still going to be looking for another warrior, which means that the Mighty Goats can ban here if they want to and try and take a warrior away that they feel might pair well with Diva, or just take a warrior away knowing that this is we're going to play let's say a new Barak. So we're going to ban the other warriors away and keep them from going over to Snitches Get Stitches, or maybe even ban the Tassadar. Just to keep Vala from getting that Tassadar. Vala will get a ton of value from Tassadar post level 4 with those shields if she can get paired up with him. So it'll be interesting to see which way they decide to go here. Okay. Hovering the owl. Nope. Hovering the Artanis and taking the Artanis, saying, yeah, we don't want to let you have Artanis with Diva. Plus, Artanis will do a crazy amount of damage to that Immortal. So both teams possibly looking to do race comps. Shifting over to Snitches Get Stitches. And we get a Falstad ban. I'm not sure that's what I was expecting, but that's cool. We can go with that. back over to the Mighty Goats, taking their time again. You know what? I kind of like this. So often we see teams try to rush their picks, and Mighty Goats isn't falling into that. They're just taking their time, doing the picks that they need to do, and not worrying about, yeah, it might take us another minute or two, but it's all good. All right, and we do get in a new Brack. A new Brack recently nerfed, but still pretty strong. And the Li Ming. That's actually, I like that pick too. Li Ming is super good at taking people out of Cocoon, assuming a new Brack still picks up Cocoon. So that means that now Niches get Stitches can't pick the Li Ming to break out of Cocoon. Plus, Li Ming has a ton of value on this map with her ability to do damage to the Immortal from range and just sit there and poke like non-stop. So I like that decision. This is a good draft. I'm kind of digging the Mighty Goats draft overall so far. And now the last two picks over to Snitches get Stitches. They got to decide what they think is going to work against these Mighty Goats. They might be able to pick something, but they are taking their time, trying to make sure whatever they pick is the right thing. And we're going to see a Varian and a Zagara. All right, so the Varian, I think, pairs up nicely with the Diva and with the Vala. The Zagara can work, and we've seen that work successfully before. But you have to have a competent Zagara player. And Zagara against now whatever solo laner that the Mighty Goats pick up, you know, there's a couple of solo laners you could go here to really challenge Zagara in that bottom lane. Honestly, I'd love to see Malthael picked. Even a reworked Zul would work out pretty well here against the Zagara. Let's see what they end up going. But I like both of those picks into that. Even an Illidan, now that I'm thinking about it, would be good there. Alright, so we get an Arthas. That's interesting. And Arthas can work well. I'm not sure you would count him as a hard counter, but he can play against Zagara. But here we go. We're going to load into this game, and we're going to see how these two teams can shake it out and get it done. All right, so on the blue team for the Mighty Goats, we have G.O.A.T playing on the Anubarak, Womack on the Arthas, Death on the Ariel, Erzirce on the Li Ming, and Unknown on the Lunara. And for the red team, Snitches get Stitches, we have Bandito on the Varian, Majesty on the Uther, Speedmon on the Vala, Spectrama on the Zagara, and Andorian on the Diva. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am not keen on having my healer called Death. That's slightly concerning to me. So we'll have to see how that works out there. Yeah, but all right, that works. I do like the Snitches get Stitches boys all running with the Stitches Beach portrait. That makes me smile. So kudos to them for getting that done. And now let's just see what happens when we get into it.
Prepare yourselves for battle, heroes. The battle begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the
Alright, so we do have Zagara and Arthas starting off in the top lane against each other, but in the bottom lane, we have everybody else. Spray's already going down. 4-on-4. Nobody really wants to engage yet, and I actually appreciate this. So many teams will like push a hard engage here for no reason. I'm happy to see that these guys are sticking to the, hey man, we don't actually have to go in. Let's just clear the wave. Let's be a little annoying. Look for something if it steps out, but otherwise let's just clear the wave. So kudos, boys. Kudos. Still not a lot of damage coming out. Both teams taking talents that are mostly what we would expect to see here. Throwing some damage down. D.Va's about halfway dead, but that doesn't mean anything. It's a mech. She's gonna be fine. And worst case, she, you know, her mech pops and she has to jump out and come in on another mech. So nothing really really big going on there. It does look like we're gonna have Lunara taking a ton of damage from Varian, but the race is on. Zagara looking to kind of slow down the Mighty Goats, but not quite able to do so, and halftime is going to be reached right about the same time for both teams as D.Va moves in to try and slow down the Mighty Goats as well. Oh, and this is a great position for the Mighty Goats, actually for both teams. The Mighty Goats seem to be pushing harder with the race as both Varian and D.Va are now over trying to stop them from Snitches Get Stitches. But all of the DPS at Snitches Get Stitches coming out. It's going to be close down to the wire and just barely winning it. The Mighty Goats. Now we should have a nice good push here bottom lane. At least see the wall come down. I'm not sure I would expect to see more than just the wall come down, but we should at least see the wall here. Most of the Mighty Goats moving in, looking to do some damage. D.Va, again, really low, getting stunned, but she's ready to explode, and she's going to go ahead and sacrifice her mech for the first time, zoning the rest of the team away, killing the Immortal, and that's not even going to be the first wall down. So great defense by Snitches Get Stitches. Check out this top lane for a minute. Zagara does seem to be winning this one-on-one. She's got creep spread all the way over onto the other side of that lane, and her minions are pushing up pretty solidly. Back down to the bottom lane. Both teams do solidly have 4. There's only a slight XP lead over to Snitches Get Stitches. D.Va back in her mech already. And, you know, Lunar is spreading the poison, which is going to be difficult for Uther to heal later on in the game. But right now, it doesn't seem to be too big of a problem. Looks like we're going to get the boys in Snitches Get Stitches starting the bottom siege camp right away. This is a good decision here. But they're not showing on the map anywhere. So the Mighty Goats should have been aware that that was going on and maybe come down to invade. But with Anubrak going up to try and help Arthas, it's probably best just to stay back at their lane and try to soak. Both teams approaching 7 pretty rapidly. Oh, but really low right now is Uther. The poison may actually kill him, but he is able to heal himself. D.Va taking a bunch of damage. The poison spread from Lunar is getting real. In another level or so, she's going to do even more damage if she picks up her level 7 talent, which I'm unfortunately totally going blank on. But we'll tell you at level 7 if she takes it. Alright, both teams starting their shaman camps a little bit late. The idea is you want to have those fallen shaman camps picked up just as the immortals spawn so that you can engage the Immortal, and have your Fallen Shaman camp pushing to cause your other team to have to defend against your Fallen Shaman camp. Does look like we're going to get Varian and D.Va trying to defend their Immortal here, putting some damage out onto Anubarak. Uther comes down to help him. Snitches get Stitches doing whatever they can to try and slow down the Mighty Goats, but it was not enough. The Mighty Goats have about a 4,000 health lead on the Immortals right now. Oh, and we have the Defenders spawn today. So this is where you see a Immortal that you need to attack spawn on the far side, where it's a little bit harder for you to do damage. Varian taking a lot of damage down there in that corner after the great Ariel stun goes down. And we do have D.Va popping her mech again. Both teams do have 7. Lunara has not picked her talent yet. But Zagara went down to clear the bottom Fallen Shaman camp that was spawned by the Mighty Goats. Uther taking a lot of damage. He will be the next to die. And we do have the Mighty Goats up 2 kills to 0. But they're just taking a ton of damage against their top fort right now while they ignore that Fallen Shaman camp. And Lunara went Wild Vigor, which is not the talent I was thinking of. Arthas does go down in the meantime. Lunara really low. I'm not sure she's going to be able to escape from this D.Va looking to kill her. She might, though. D.Va turning around and looking to re-engage with the rest of her team on Ariel. Ariel getting really low, goes down in the process. And that's going to be, or should be, an Immortal going over to Snitches Get Stitches here. Indeed it is. In the 5-man Snitches Get Stitches group, gathering up, grabbing some globes, and then looking to push both lanes simultaneously, with Zagara going back up to the top and the rest of Snitches Getting Stitches going bottom lane. Now, it's a little later in the game. This time we should definitely see a fort wall coming down.
The demon approaches the gates of heaven.
And there goes the bottom fort wall. Fort is starting to take some damage, as well as the fountain down here in the bottom. Oh, that's a nice mech explosion. Good for zoning. Pushed everybody away. That's going to be fort and fountain. Just enough health on that Immortal to take out the tower. And that's going to be all they get. But not satisfied with that, since they do have 10. Bunny Hop getting pumped, taunt, and that's going to be a dead Ariel. So in all of that, with the fort going down, Snitches Got Stitches, secured level 10, and then wrapped back around, picked off that Ariel with a Bunny Hop, followed by a taunt. Well played, D.Va and Varian, to lock down Ariel enough that you were able to get a kill. Level 10 just around the corner for the Mighty Goats, as Zagara in the top lane has pushed and taken about half of the health away from the top lane fort. Ooh, she might be in danger here, though. A lot of the team is moving up into the top lane, so both groups looking to possibly get a kill here. Zagara backing out safely. And Varian just soloing the bottom lane, continuing to get a little bit of soak and keep that XP lead for Snitches Get Stitches. Ooh, I think we're going to see D.Va and Uther here start a camp. Anubarak has sniffed it out and is looking to come in and engage here. This could be the fight that Mighty Goats is looking for. They do have their level 10s. Out comes the Cocoon. Damage going out. Out comes the Maw. And Vala, already out of that Cocoon, is looking to do damage on her own. Anubarak really low up in that top lane. D.Va able to finish him off. And that's going to be 1-0 on a fight that the Mighty Goats really need to win, but wasn't quite able to do so. And now we see both teams going after their Fallen Shaman camps, as the Immortals have been announced.
Your servants in hell will cower before me.
And no, we see the Mighty Goats ignoring their Fallen Shaman camp and instead moving into possibly push Zagara off or get the kill on Zagara here. But the rest of Snitches get Stitches not far behind, coming quickly and look to cause some damage. Bunny Hop coming out again, slowing down most of the back line for Mighty Goats. Out comes the mech explosion, and not going to quite catch anybody, but did zone everybody off and give Snitches get Stitches room to work with. Oh, D.Va's really low. She is going to lose her mech. Out comes the laser beam, but Taunt stops that pretty quick. However, Varian's getting really low. Even though Arthas does die, he may go down here. Barely able to be saved by Uther. 1-0 so far, but Mighty Goat's not letting this fight go. Instead, losing Nubrak in the process, and Varian parrying non-stop just to keep himself alive. That is why that build is www. That taunt. Staying alive with all those parries. Oh, and this is going to be a very healthy Immortal for Snitches Get Stitches pushing this bottom lane. As the Fallen Shaman camp in the top lane has actually pushed all the way up to the keep wall and done a decent amount of damage, as the Mighty Goats did ignore that Fallen Shaman camp for most of the Immortal fight.
The demon moves for the gates of heaven.
I would not be surprised to see a 5-man push here, and it does indeed look like Zagar is going to join them bottom lane. This should be a keep with the size of that shield on the Immortal, and everybody healthy with a 13 level versus 11 level, 2-level lead on the side of Snitches Get Stitches. D.Va keeping that defense matrix on Li Ming as much as she can, looking to move people around and push them into a place they don't want to be so that the rest of Snitches Get Stitches can get a kill. That does look like that's going to be the end of the keep. D.Va popping her mech explosion just to be sure. Keep is down. And red team, or Snitches Get Stitches with such a lead and killing Lunara, they could look to stay here. They're going to get Li Ming here next. She is really low. That's going to be Li Ming after the bunny hop slows her down enough for the rest of the team to kill her. Arthas, oh so low, goes down as well, leaving only Ariel and a Nubrak up. Meanwhile, a half-health Immortal has started depleting the shields of the core. A Nubrak might be the next to die after getting stunned and pushed around by D.Va. Core already at 30% and falling rapidly. That should be game number 1 going over to Snitches Get Stitches.